Well, hello, Life West community. Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Ron Oberstein coming at you with our Life by Life West. It's a great series that we're doing right now, bringing in practitioners who are doing amazing things around the world so that they can share with us what they've been doing. And today I have a very special guest. I actually was at dinner with her about a month and a half ago in Seattle, where we did a dinner with the docs kind of thing, alumni and friends, and she is an alumni of Life West. This is who I have with her is Dr. Christine Zapata. So Christine, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. Just a little bit of history about Dr. Christine. She graduated in 2007. She is from Union City, which is literally, I drive right to it where I live, 5 minutes away from the college where we're located right now. She also practiced in San Francisco for a couple years. Then she moved to Seattle and she did an associateship there. She'll probably tell us about that. And now she has her own practice. I believe it's called Emerald City Chiropractic. Is that correct?
Emerald City Spinal Care.
Emerald City Spinal Care in a beautiful area of Seattle. And so she's just doing amazing things. And let's jump into it, Christine, and kind of see what's going on. Share with us first, how did you get into chiropractic?
I got into chiropractic my sophomore year of high school. I had gotten into, I think it was 2 car accidents. None of them were my fault. Within about a 6-month period. And then 3 months after my second car accident, I had a really bad soccer injury. And so between soccer injury and car accidents, I had developed really bad migraine headaches. And they were so bad that there was probably a 2-week stretch where I missed a lot of school. And I think I was 1 absence away from not passing my sophomore year. And my parents had taken me to a bunch of different healthcare providers. And really nothing gave me the full resolution that I needed. And one day my father was talking to a friend of his, and he was kind of just talking about the frustrations that he was having trying to find a solution for me. And his friend suggested I see a chiropractor. Both my parents are from the Philippines, and they'd never really been around chiropractic. And so they had no idea what a chiropractor did. They were just at a point where they were pretty desperate to find me help. So my parents took me to see a chiropractor, and it changed my life. And I think that really is what propelled me into chiropractic.
Yeah. So did you know, like at that moment, that chiropractic was going to be there, or was it after you went to undergraduate school, or how'd that work out? Because you're literally sitting next door to a chiropractic college, right? Like literally 3 miles away, whatever, right?
Yeah. I honestly went into undergrad thinking that I was going to go into medical school. And I knew I wanted to be in healthcare. I just wasn't sure what. And I went through undergrad thinking that I was going to go into medical school. And the summer in between my junior and my senior year, I went back to the Bay Area, and I ended up working with a medical doctor in a private practice for the summer, because I wanted to see what it was like in that type of environment. And I remember at the end of the summer, right before I went back to San Diego, I was talking to the doc I was working with, and I said, I'm thinking about going to medical school. And she looked me dead in the eye and said, I would encourage you to try to find another profession or just something else in healthcare, because medicine is not what it was in the 80s when I was going to school and when I got out. Her son at the time was thinking about going to medicine as well, and she was trying to convince him to not. And so I went back to San Diego State, where I was going to undergrad, and my chiropractor at the time was just asking how my summer went, and I told her about my experience. And she said, have you ever thought about chiropractic? Because you yourself are under chiropractic care, and I know you want to try to get into healthcare and help people. Maybe you should hang out in my office and maybe see what it's like and see if this is different. I think she knew that it was going to be a different experience for me. in her office. And so I spent a couple afternoons each week for a semester hanging out in her office. And I was pretty much just a fly on the wall, kind of just helped file and take out the trash and just help assist her in any way that I needed. And I loved how the experiences were completely different. In a medical doctor's office, I found that the doctor really didn't know much about the patient beyond what was in the chart. And my chiropractor in San Diego, while I was going to college, she knew whose child was going to have a soccer game the coming weekend. She knew who was going or coming back from vacation. She's talking to people about their upcoming wedding and just things in their life outside of the office that I really liked.
She knew in your finals. She knew what you were. She knew
exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I loved that the sense of community that she had in her practice. And so, yeah, I told her after a semester, I was like, I think I'm going to go into chiropractic school. And so that's really when I had made the switch mentally going from medical school to chiropractic college.
I want you to know that there's probably a 99.9999999 chance that I know you're a chiropractor in San Diego, since I was practicing there for 30 something years, right? But it's so exciting. And she told you the 6 most important words that we can say. Have you ever thought about being a chiropractor or thought about chiropractic? Mm-hmm. It's just really what it is. It's so cool. And now you're up in Seattle, you're doing phenomenal things up there. And we'll get into that, but I think one of the things is, you've been in practice now for, you said since 2013 years, right? And then 11 up in Seattle. And obviously, you did a path where I think you started an associateship and then you ended up, buying a practice or starting to practice and then buying it and doing all that stuff. And, tell us what you're doing. Tell our viewers, like, some of the great things that you've done, to build the successful practice. And I do want our viewers to know that you specialize. You're a Blair practitioner, right? Mm-hmm. So you're doing, Blair work, which is really cool upper cervical work. And I've had amazing Blair adjustments before. But share with us, like, some of the things that you're doing that no matter what they're doing, whatever technique they're doing, that have been really kind of propelling you. And
I think that one of the most important things that a doc can do, especially a new doc coming out of school, is to try to find an associateship where it's a win-win for both the associate as well as the clinic director. There are a lot of associateships out there, and I really think that it's important for docs to have a vision for what it is that they want. My first associateship, I learned a ton of technique. My second associateship, I really wanted to learn more about the business of chiropractic, because that's something that I didn't feel confident in. So I wanted to learn as much as I could about the business side of things. And that's what moved me up to Seattle. And I ended up working in this main clinic, trying to learn as much as I could. Again, the first associateship really taught me how to be a chiropractor. And the second one really opened my eyes to what was necessary to have a successful practice and business. And I pretty much just put my head down and worked for the first, probably 5 to 8 years that I was in practice. And I did everything that I could to get out into the community so that people knew who I was and what I did. And I think that that's really important. One of the things that I oftentimes will hear from students when I'm talking to them about practice and building their practice up, sometimes they think that as soon as they open up their doors, that the community will just come flooding in. And that's not necessarily the case. So I really think that it's important for people to either find an associateship where they can get what they're looking to get out of it, learn the skills and all the systems and processes that are necessary, and then go out and either do it on your own or find an opportunity where, like me, I got to train with my mentor and then open up a satellite clinic where I was the only doctor who went into that satellite clinic, and I got to build that up. And after 2.5 years, was able to buy out my mentor so that I can become the sole owner of a clinic that I had built from the ground up.
Yeah. So they basically they seeded it, right? And
mm-hmm.
and you were able to go in and do that. You said something really interesting because, I think it is true. I think, and I think there's not a pattern for it. I don't know where it comes from, but people think, oh, I'm going to just graduate and I can just go out and I hang a shingle up and people are just going to flood to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the truth is they need to know where we are and they need to know what we do. And we have something so unique and so beautiful that when they really understand what we do, they're going to tell others about it, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's just amazing, and you said something else. I think that's very, very important. You said that you put the time in, the work in for the first 5 to 5 to 8 years, whatever, because, it's not like you just coast afterwards, but you've got, in order to grow the crops, you've got to till the soil, and that's where all the work is, right? And then you've got to do all that work and amend it and do everything. And you start planting and you got to get the first plants to grow right and do it. But after they start growing, then it kind of becomes more of a maintenance thing,
Mm-hmm. And one thing that I've noticed in really any industry, not just chiropractic, the most successful people have mentors and coaches and people who have done or are doing what they want, so that they can really learn what are the things that you had to do, what challenges did you overcome. And I think that that's really important. And I think that's why finding a really good associateship can be instrumental for new docs or people who are just trying to get to the next level. I think it's really important to surround yourself with people who've done that before.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the person who's been out in practice for 5 or 8 years or 10 years, and they're just not where they want to be yet. I mean, they love chiropractic and they're doing that, or maybe they've even fallen in love with chiropractic. It's not because of chiropractic. It's more because of what their situation is bringing them. What would you tell them? Because they're not going to necessarily go into an associateship, right? At that level, because they have their office. What would you tell them, the kind of a few nuggets that they can use to be able to kind of make things start to happen?
I think that finding a mentor or a coach, someone who is doing where they're trying or has what they're trying to obtain, I think is important. I think that it's easy for people who have been out in practice for a handful of years to kind of get into a rut where maybe they really haven't changed or innovated certain things and they're kind of just going through the motions. I think that if people can get around others who can really show them what's possible, whether it's a mentor or a coach or accountability partners, I think that can really help someone who has been in practice for a little bit and just kind of needs something to get over a hurdle.
Yeah. And what you said was so true, because I don't know who they are, but they say that, if you look at the 5 people that you hang around the most, you'll pick up those same habits, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when people are complaining or they're not doing well in their current situation, whatever it is in life, we tend to find people that are just like that. So, kind of like misery likes company. And so we see who that is. And I think what you said is so golden, go out and make these friends and go out and put yourself in an uncomfortable situation to insert yourself, to find those people that not that you want to be like them, but you want to be able to express yourself at a higher level and have more success in your life, right?
Yes.
So important.
Absolutely.
And so what else? I mean, I know you're doing great things up in the Emerald City, which I love your office there, man. It's just right there. How did you branch out? Like, what did you do? Because you're well known. We're going to talk about how people all over the world are getting to know you right now, which we'll save that toward the end. But what did you do? I know you saw coaches and you had a great mentor, but you still had to do the work, right?
Yeah.
And so share with us what that work. Just a few things of what that work might have looked like.
I think it's important for people to understand that every overnight success took 10 years, and it's really important to be willing to make those sacrifices that are necessary to be successful One of the things that I like to tell people is you have to understand this concept of delayed gratification, where you may have to make some short-term sacrifices so that you can have the things that you want. Early on, one of the things that my husband and I always talk about is when we first started dating, I worked 6, sometimes 7 days a week, oftentimes for like 3 weeks straight without a day off. And I'm thankful that he was okay with that, because that's what I felt like I needed to do in order to be successful and end up with the clinic that I had always dreamed of. And sometimes that meant not going out for happy hour with some friends or skipping out on a camping trip because I had to stay home and work. There were a lot of times where I would spend all day in the office, and then I would spend a couple hours after seeing patients to attend a networking event or just get out into the community. Early on, I was doing a lot of spinal screenings. It was at every gym and vitamin shop and anywhere that I could be to just get in front of people in the community. I was doing a lot of lunch and learns or health talks. So I literally was doing everything that I could to try to get out in front of people.
Yeah.
So I think it was that really helped me get to where I am now, because I was willing to put in that work. And again, sacrifice a social life for a couple years, and kind of just cut my teeth and really gain a ton of experience, and just get to where I want to go, just with making that sacrifice.
Yeah, and you know what I'm hearing is that there's a lot of intention, meaning that attention and intention, because it's like we could put the work in, and you might have done spinal screenings and got nothing from those spinal screenings at that vitamin store or vitamin stores, but then people came in from other places. And the universe knows that the more energy we expend, right? It's just a law of physics, right? Energy is going to come back, and we can't dictate what it's going to look like. But if we have intention on that, right, and attention, it's going to happen. And I think it's important because you know what? I love what you said. Every overnight success took years, right? Because it's like no one does it like that, unless you're buying a lottery ticket one time only and you win it that time, which we don't hear a lot about. I love it because you know what? And that's that work that goes in. I was taught, Christine, from Dr. Sid Williams, obviously the founder of Life West, where you went to school. And I was taught that he would drill into our heads that you will have a starvation period when you get out of school. Other schools were like, oh yeah, it's 2 years of starving and takes 2 years to get. But in what he taught us was that you will have a starvation period. And then he said, you will be so darn busy, you won't have time to go for lunch. And that's what I put in here, right? So it's kind of like what you're saying, like who you hanging out with, what are you putting in here, and what are you expending, right? Because it's really about the people. And obviously you moved to a city that you had nobody, right? You didn't know anyone in Seattle?
I knew 0 people when I moved to Seattle. I figured I'd move up here. I'd take this opportunity. I was in my 20s when I moved up here. So I was like, I'm at the time, wasn't married, don't have kids. And I figured, if things don't work out for me here, I can always go back home to California. Yeah. And here I am 11, almost 12 years later. And I love it here. Again, I think it was the vision that I had for myself, which was to own my own clinic. And then my willingness to really do whatever it took to get what I wanted, that really helped get me to where I am now. So
yeah. And I'm so thankful for that because I just for our viewers to know that you're part of the college, you give back to the college, you show up at events, you mentor students, you've already spoken at you speak at our Friday seminars, and you've got docs, interested docs coming up to see you, and you're taking on associates, and you're doing all this stuff, and you're really leading the way. And I want just to let you know this, and I know 13 years out, it's a good chunk of time, being at 40 years, seeing 13 years, you're at the first round, so to speak, of the race, but you're doing more than a lot of people. And I want to thank you, not just from Life West, I want to thank you from the profession because, you know, we need more Dr. Zapatas who are going to mentor and be there for our students and people who are just looking to, you know, to grow their practice and become better at what they're doing, you know.
Yeah.
I alluded to something earlier, which I want to kind of bring out right now. And it was, you know, about how you're kind of getting known around the world. And it was so interesting because I actually saw this. I don't know where I saw it. I don't know, someone might have sent it to me, whatever, and said, wow, look what your grads are doing, that kind of thing, right? It was a clip from the news from K-Ron or one of the stations up there. I don't know, whatever station was up there in Seattle. And now it's just going viral. So I'm going to let you share what the coolest thing I mean, you do amazing things anyways, but you know, this is such a great thing. I want our viewers to kind of see what's happening and how by giving, doing, loving, and serving, you can literally change the world. So share what took place and share with our viewers what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you know, I don't know how far in the future people will be watching this, but right now we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, and Seattle was ground zero for this. So in early March, people were starting to hear about coronavirus. There was a lot of doom and gloom just out in the community, on social media. I saw how scared and anxious people were in my community. My office is right in the heart of Seattle. It's in the Capitol Hill neighborhood. So my office is right around the corner from CHOP, or I think it was called Chaz initially. And so there was a lot of stuff going on at the time. And again, because of all the doom and gloom I was seeing on social media, I really wanted to try to find a way that I could lead my community and do something positive, try to support our local small business community. And again, hopefully just to help people who'd fallen on hard times. And so the very first thing that I did was open up a $100 tab at a local donut shop, which was right around the corner from my office. And I thought that this would be a really good way to, again, just try to spread joy to people's day, and then help a local small business community or local small business in the community. And so I went to this donut shop and said, hey, I am going to leave $100 here. I want anybody who says, put me on Dr. Christine's tab to get a donut or coffee on me. And that went super quick. I recorded a video on social media. I posted it not only on our Emerald City Spinal Care business page, but I also did it on some community groups, some neighborhood groups that are on Facebook. And I pretty much just shared it in those areas and said, hey, you know, if you need a pick-me-up or if you need something to brighten your day, go to this donut shop. Let them know to put it on Dr. Christine's tab and it's all yours. And I was committed to doing that every Friday until this pandemic ended. We're now in December and it's
8 months later, right?
Yeah. So I've been very committed to doing this every Friday and it's been great. I have met some amazing people in the community through this. Again, business owners and just people in the community. I love that every week, whenever I post my video, people will send me messages. I get these wonderful, heartfelt messages from people who say, hey, you know, I've fallen on hard times. My daughter has been begging me to take her to this one spot, but I can't afford it. And then I saw that you had opened up a tab, so we got to go and my daughter got to enjoy something, and just looking at just the joy in her face really made my day. And I want you to know that that is something that would not have happened without you. Or messages from business owners who say, you know, we've really fallen on hard times and your one tab just brought a ton of people in and the energy was so awesome. People were so happy. My staff was super excited. So thank you for just doing something for people in the community because we really need something positive during this really challenging time. And now here in Seattle, we're in our second lockdown and people look forward to it now. I get messages from people who say, you know, I look forward to every Friday because I want to know, where are you going?
Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, I got approached by our local NBC station, and they had been following me since March, and they wanted to do an interview with me. And so did an interview, and we're almost 2 weeks after the interview aired, and I've been interviewed on other news stations, radio. This has really allowed me to kind of spread or shine light on just how much the community, the small business community really needs our help, and just how important it is for, again, the community to come together and really try to rally and support each other. So I love that I am hearing that people were so inspired by my story that they're now taking this and spreading joy to their own communities all over the world. So
beautiful. And then
yeah.
Ottawa recently, right? I mean, it got picked up by NBC affiliates, right? And
yeah. Yep. I got messages from people on Monday from Florida, Iowa, Chicago. My best friend lives in LA, and she said that she was just watching TV with her sister, and she was like, then you pop up on the TV. And I was like, oh my God, I know her. I've gotten, like you said, Ottawa. Got people from Ottawa, Vancouver, Canada, reaching out, and yeah, it's been great. I think that with this this focus on community, because community is super important to me. Again, that's really what got me into chiropractic, because my chiropractor, I could see the sense of community that she had in her office, and it's nice now to be able to do this for my community and then just see the ripple effect that it has, because I mean, we're all going through this
yes.
Pandemic, and we're all trying to navigate this. And so it's been great to give back to the community. And now people are recognizing me on the streets. We're getting people calling in because they saw the interview. And so I guess it's been a way for me to get out into the community when I can't do traditional marketing to create awareness about myself and my office. So it's kind of been a very nice byproduct for the business. But yeah, it really just started as a way to help people.
Yeah, it wasn't about that. It was really just about giving back, right? Like just getting people into these small community, into these smaller businesses. And, and that's what I love about it. Like, it wasn't about, oh, what can I do to help build my practice? I'm going to go and it was truly about how can I serve small businesses and people, right? And in that just comes together. And the interview that I saw, which was the NBC, it says, Dr. Christine Zapata, owner of a local chiropractor. So chiropractic is getting recognition all over from this, right? And so thank you. But I do want to ask you one last question on the same topic. Because if someone that wants to do this, and hopefully you're going to do it out of giving, but how do you choose the people? It's $5, is that correct? So $5 for their tab?
It really just depends on the business. I will approach a business that's in the Seattle area and just say, hey, here's what I've been doing, trying to open up a $100 tab. Some places it's been $150, $200. Just kind of depends. Lately, I have gotten some anonymous donations from people in the community who want to help support businesses. So some tabs have been larger. What I do is I just ask the business, what do you think is appropriate? And a bagel shop said, why don't you just offer these bagels for free because they're less than $5. I'm like, okay, great. Some other places, some restaurants that I've opened up tabs with, they've got larger ticket items. So it might be $10 off or $5 off of their order or their purchase. So I really try to do what I can to just create awareness for these businesses and give them the opportunity to maybe get new clients and hopefully get them to share that with their community or their loved ones. So it's really just what they think is going to be appropriate for their business. And because I've been doing this for so long, now I'm getting other people in the community or my patients or my staff recommending places that I can open up a tab with. So yeah, it's now turned into a community thing where
Exactly.
people are helping me.
It's like, where in the world is Dr. Christine going this Friday, right? I think it's so awesome. Well, I just want to thank you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because it's, right now, we're in, our viewers will be seeing this sometime at the beginning of 2021, but we're right now in the first week of December 2020. And with the holiday season around the corner and that giving spirit, even though you did this back in March, like you did this, literally, so long ago, right? It's just such a beautiful story. And thank you for just giving, out of your abundance, and for doing what you felt in your heart was the right thing to do. I'm sure it was innately, inspired. It just kind of happened. And thank you, Dr. Christine, because it's so beautiful. And I want to thank you for being on our show today, because I'm going to have a smile on my face the rest of the day. I appreciate who you are. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate the work you do, the specific chiropractic care that you give, and how you give back to the profession so much. So thank you so much. I want to leave you. I want to ask if there's any last thing you'd like to share with our listeners.
No, I think if anyone wants to connect with me, I'm on social media. You can find Dr. Christine Zapata on social media. Send me a message. I am always open to chatting with anybody who wants to learn a little bit more about what I do. My office is really a training center, so I welcome any students or docs to come shadow. I really want to try to do what I can to further this profession. I think that there is a need for more chiropractors, and so I just try to do what I can to inspire others and give back. So.
Awesome. And we're going to have your information run along the bottom so our viewers are able to grab all that and do that. Well,
cool.
Dr. Christine Zapata, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you for just all that you're doing, right? And you really are like Life by Life West, it's just, I'm like I said, my heart is warm and my smile on my face all day. And I do appreciate you so much. So
awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And to our viewers, I want to thank you for tuning in. We'll be back at you again next week with our next episode, I should say, with another person who's doing phenomenal stuff like Dr. Zapata. Just remember to keep living your life from above down, inside out. Keep sharing, hugging people that you can be around, so that we can spread that love as much as you can, and make this world a better place. Because all we have to do is put our intention and attention, as Dr. Christine said earlier, that we can really make great changes. So love and appreciate all of you, and we'll be back at you for our next episode of Life by Life West.